What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, check it out. The Acolyte, still a dumpster fire, still sitting at 14% on Rotten Tomatoes. The critic score actually has been going up. It had dropped all the way to 83. It's now bumped up a couple of points to 85%. But the audience score is the curious one for me, all right? We already know what the shills are going to do. I was wondering, like, yo, why is it that the 14% hasn't dropped to like 13%, 12%? You know, it's been on 14% for a few days now. And actually, I went over and clicked on these ratings, and I started noticing, oh, yeah, everybody's coming in with the 4-star ratings, okay? All the bots came alive. Here's a 5-star, 4-star, 4-star, 5-star. Oh, look, somehow a star and a half slipped in here. But then another 5-star. Look, no names on this junk, nothing. Just 5-star blank profile. That's it. Okay. 5-star, 4.5, 5, 4. You know, there's a half-star, then 4, half-star, star, and then just a whole bunch of 5-star. That's what we've been getting. All right. So the bots and the shills, they understood the assignment. We can't let this thing sink any lower than this. All right. It's going to stay at this 14%. This far, no further. All right. That's what they said. But look, this ain't even the topic. I wanted to just bring that up because I thought it was hilarious. Let's jump over to this article on That Park Place. Shout out to John F. Trent. The Acolyte showrunner Leslye Headland, sad that her most important piece of art is being dismantled, says it's reductive to describe witches as lesbians. All right. So there's two parts of this thing. The first part is she's sad that her most important piece of art is being dismantled. And I was a little confused. I was like, why is this your most important piece of art? What makes the Acolyte, you know, a lame brain Star Wars TV show? Like, why is this your most important piece of art? I was a little confused by that. But then I remembered, all right? Then I remembered this piece right here off Abounding in the Comics, all right? Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy says she told the Acolyte creator, "You've written a great Star Wars show. Now go write a Leslye Headland show." That's why this is her most important piece, because this is a Leslye Headland show. This is all about her. This is her digging into her history with her childhood, her, you know, sister, problems that she had, so on and so forth. That's what this show is all about. That's where the whole Frozen meets Kill Bill, the Frozen side. It's her, like, I guess, working out the problems that she had with her younger sister, you know, and all of that stuff in her upbringing. And to whatever problems that she had with her younger sister, it don't belong in Star Wars. I'm sorry. Yeah, your whole life is being dismantled before everybody's eyes, and you calling it your most important piece of art. You should have just made a Star Wars show. You shouldn't have tried to put your personal life into this situation, because basically what people are saying is, we don't give a damn about your personal life, okay? We could care less about whatever it is you was dealing with, sister and all. Nobody gives a damn. So why did you put this in the Star Wars series? Yeah, it's getting dismantled, all right? And rightfully so. Nobody wanted to see. Look, we talk about self-inserts all the time on this channel. We are not here for your self-inserts. Take your problems and all of your psychological issues, take that to the couch. Talk to a counselor. Go on betterhelp.com. They'll probably drop an ad during this video. Go on BetterHelp and get some help. But don't put this shit in Star Wars. This is not for you. Okay? This is not for you to air out all of your grievances and go through all of your life history. Nobody cared. So yeah, that was your first mistake. Then she says this part, which is just absolutely gaslighting. It's reductive to describe the witches as lesbians. And I'm like, wait a minute, man. Are you kidding me? See, this is the part of the gaslighting that I don't like. Because this chick has said nothing but from the very beginning that this entire show was going to be queer coded. She said this. Yeah, this article on Game Rant, I probably brought this thing up like 20 times. The Acolyte will reflect the showrunner's own queer identity. But you know what? I never jumped to the actual quote, all right, where people can see it for themselves. Here's what she said. In the same way that the original Star Wars film, A New Hope, is about a young man living in Modesto, California, who doesn't want to take over his dad's hardware store, Headland said to The Advocate, referring to George Lucas's own personal inspiration behind the creation of Star Wars, there is just no way that me being a queer woman is not going to be reflected in my work. There ain't no chance in hell that that's not going to happen. She is basically saying, oh yeah, it's going to be some queerness in here. You know, there's going to be some queerness. She went on to explain how storytelling is often an extension of the storyteller, reflecting key aspects of that person's life and identity into the narrative itself. So as a result, she believes her queerness will come through in the show, even if it happens to be on a subconscious level. Yo, there's nothing subconscious about this, man. There is nothing subconscious about this. I don't know what this chick is talking about, man. All right. And look, it's not just that, right? We also saw this one, okay? This was on Bounded in the comics. And Leslye Headland confirming the upcoming Star Wars series, The Acolyte, will look into what's going on for all of us right now. Now, let me jump to this one quote right here. Not that, this one here. Okay, look. When I was a young queer girl, I was just hanging out with Ursula the Sea Witch from Little Mermaid. She told the outlet, as a queer girl growing up, if you don't identify with the heroes and the villains show up and they're all queer coded, you're like, yes, that's me. As a queer filmmaker, you're going to see some camp inevitably, but I would say that tonally our references are darker. So yeah, she said queer about 4 or 5 times in the space of like 20 words. And she says, I'm a queer filmmaker. Like, this chick is trying to gaslight everybody. It's like, oh, I don't understand why, you know, you guys are describing the witches as lesbian. Chick, because you made them lesbians. Like, what are we missing here, man? None of us are stupid, Leslye Headland. You know, it's not reductive to describe the witches, the lesbian witches as lesbians, okay? It's not reductive whatsoever. Look, check this out. This website right here is called Them. And they wrote up this article, How the Acolyte Wove Queerness and Lesbian Space Witches into Star Wars. Writer-director Leslye Headland's new series takes a nuanced approach to representation. All right, so Them is this website, and in case you didn't know, it is a website that you can get the best of what's queer, all right? And you can sign up. I'm not signing up, no thank you. But here's the point, is that you have a queer website, okay? A queer website is calling the witches lesbian. A queer website is calling the witches lesbian. And Leslye Headland, what are you talking about? Oh, it's reductive to describe the witches as lesbian. Chick, you did that. You're the one that made these witches lesbian. That's why everybody's talking about it. That's why a queer website over here is like, oh yeah, lesbian space witches. Nobody is gaslit by this nonsense, man. You ain't fooling nobody, Leslye Headland. You are fooling no one whatsoever. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this part of the article. Yeah, so this part, she's obviously sad that her show is being dismantled. Honestly, I feel sad that people would think that if something were gay, that would be bad. It makes me feel sad that a bunch of people on the internet would somehow dismantle what I consider to be the most important piece of art that I've ever made. Welcome to Star Wars. We gave it to George Lucas. We gave George Lucas the blues. We let George have it during the prequels, okay? Star Wars fans, let George just have it, man. And that's the creator of the damn franchise. That's the maker. Okay, and you think that you're safe just because you're LGBTQ and a woman and, oh, you know, I'm safe. Don't criticize me. Man, Leslye Headland, you gotta be out of your mind. Oh, it's just, I feel sad that a bunch of people, no, man, no. If we let George have it, we can let anybody have, anyone can get it. Anybody can get it. If George can get it, anybody can get it. This chick is, Star Wars has been dismantled. It has been criticized. It has been scrutinized with a fine-tooth comb for 40 years. You said you a big Star Wars fan. I'm the biggest Star Wars fan there ever was. You should know. You should know all about this. This should catch you by surprise none. Look, if I wrote a Star Wars show and I would say, oh my God, the thing I wrote is going to be the best Star Wars ever, that thing would get criticized. That thing would get dismantled. All right. There would be somebody out there that's saying that's trash. All right. And depending on how bad it is how many people it would be. But ultimately, yeah, that's the franchise, chick. You know, you better grow a pair. She probably wish she could. Anyway, man, let's move on. All right, so here's the part where they're talking about the lesbian space witches, all right, that they introduced in the 3rd episode. The witches were confirmed to be lesbian in a puff piece by Brooke Barnes in the New York Times before an episode of the show even aired. He reported, Jodie Turner-Smith plays the lesbian leader of a regal coven of witches. Despite the show marketing the space witches as lesbian, Headland now tells The Hollywood Reporter, they're in a matriarchal society. As a gay woman, I knew it would read that their sexuality is queer, but there also aren't any men in their community, so a closeness between the two of them would be natural. It seemed plot-driven. Then she stated, I would say it's really reductive to call them lesbians. I think it means you're not really paying attention to the story. No, I think if you pay attention to the story, they're absolute lesbians. What is that? I don't understand what she's trying to get at. Like this scene right here, okay? This particular scene, well, actually, it's not this scene. It's a scene earlier, all right? Where they're leaning in, all right? They come together, they're leaning in. It looks like they're about to kiss, all right? Mother Anasea, the black chick, is like stroking Coral's face. You know, it seems like they're very close. Like, how else are we supposed to see that scene? Like, Leslye Headland, are you serious? Quit the gaslighting. Your show is getting ripped to shreds because, number one, it's poorly written. Before we even get to all of this other shit, it's a bad show. It's a poorly written show, poor characters, terrible acting, poor writing, terrible directing. Before we even get to the woke shit. And then there's the woke shit, okay? Then there's all of that type of stuff that you're shoving down our throats. People want Star Wars. People want great Star Wars. As I keep constantly pointing out, Andor, which is mostly beloved. It's from Disney Star Wars, mostly beloved by a lot of people. There's people that don't like Andor, but there's a lot of people that do like Andor, and they have no problem with it. It's the third best thing that Disney Star Wars did, sitting at an 86% on the audience score. And guess what? It has a lesbian relationship, and they make no bones about it. There is a lesbian relationship in that show, and nobody cared. Nobody talked about it. People out there and praise Andor. Oh my God, listen to the dialogue. Look at these action scenes. This is an amazing show. That's it. That's it. It has nothing to do with the fact that there's a lesbian relationship in this film. Really, honestly, again, the lesbianism and all of the LGBTQ stuff, you just almost forget about it because you're laughing at how garbage the show is. The show is just terrible. It's just not a good show. So again, quit trying to gaslight people, okay? Stop trying to gaslight people. Start focusing over here on this 14% and start asking yourself, why is this thing 14%? You know, even though there's a lesbian relationship in this show, there was a lesbian relationship in Andor, and Andor is actually like the flip reverse. Let's go to that real quick. Yeah, Andor has an 87% audience score. 87%, doing just fine. So Leslye Headland, this is what you got to deal with. You got to deal with this. Quit trying to gaslight everybody and thinking, oh man, they're being mean to her and they're dog walking the show. You know, they're dismantling the show because it's LGBTQ. Yeah, that's part of it, but that's not the whole story. The rest of the story, I would say probably more of the story has to do with the fact that you just can't write. And it's probably because you put your ideology and your little self-insert talking about your own life, you put that ahead of telling a great Star Wars story. Stop listening to Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy don't know what she's talking about. She told you to go out there and write a Leslye Headland story when you should have just been, hey man, nah, I think I'm just stick to Star Wars, all right? That's what the people expect. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about this situation. Jump down in the comments, give me your thoughts and opinions on that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.